extracted from the surface of the meat. And we add other trials with cheeses, and we use as ingredient in the mass of the cheese. But for fruits, in that way.
Okay. Would the residue will be a problem when we eat or when we use the fruits or the meat?
No, as I told, we use concentration that consider no effect, no healthy effect in the health, no bad effect on the health, because so for that reason there are no residue and there are no bad effect on the health of the consumers.
Okay. Okay, Professor Eli, yeah.
And if we to have some pernicious effect, we must use a concentration that turns the food unacceptable once the taste of the food will be very changed. So we use low concentrations in order to obtain the antioxidant and antimicrobial effect, but without affecting negatively the sensory characteristics of foods.
Okay, one last question. Is it necessary to reapply the application of the essential oil, or we can just use it one time to preserve the food?
The goal is applied just one time. Just one time, yes. Just one time.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Elias, for
You're
your
welcome.
presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We will move to our next session with Professor Dr. R.R. Harlinda Kusbrandini. She is currently working at the Faculty of Forestry, Mula Warman University. Her research interests are in processing non-timber forest products, processing of medicinal and aromatic plants, processing of essential oil products and their derivatives. Her latest publication was on the evaluation of antibacterial activity and physicochemical profiles of Eucalyptus pellita, essential oil from East Kalimantan. For today's event, she will present her paper on bioprospecting on essential oil producing trees from tropical rainforest in East Kalimantan. Please welcome Professor Kusbrandini.
All right, thank you very much, Miss Mutia Faradila. And first of all, I would like to thank for the organizing committee. And I want to send my greeting for Dr. Irfan Zikri, the executive chairman from this conference, and Dr. Saifullah Muhammad, executive chairman for Research Center Nilam Aceh. And for the previous speakers, Professor Rina Sriwati and Dr. Ben Gritrex, and my previous supervisor that attending this conference in the same event, Professor Tohrumit Sinaga and Professor Miguel Elias. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to start my presentation. Okay. Okay, as the moderator already mentioned about my title for the presentation today, I would like to share about the bioprospecting on essential oils in trees from tropical rainforest is Kalimantan. And my affiliation is in, I'm sorry. Not move. I cannot move. Okay. My affiliation is in Mula Warman University and Center of Medicine and Cosmetic from Tropical Rainforest Resources, PUI PT Okta. So I'm the representative from this center at the Forestry Faculty with the field of medicinal and aromatic plants. Okay, this is the Mula Warman University located in Kalimantan, in East Kalimantan, but this island called Borneo. So the Mula Warman University located in Samarinda. So we have faculty, 14 faculty, and maybe some of you already come to Kalimantan or will meet us in Kalimantan. Please join us. So in this presentation, this is my outline. I would like to share about the tropical rainforest and aromatic plants, and then what is a bioprospecting, and our research on tropical rainforest essential oil. So tropical rainforest, so in East Kalimantan, we have so many kind of plants and very rich of biodiversity, so including the medicinal and aromatic plants. So the member of the tropical rainforest in various ASEAN forests is dominated with Dipterocarpaceae, Lauraceae, and Clusiaceae. So there are so many plants there, but this is dominating plants in the tropical rainforest. So the aromatic plants is those that contain aromatic compound that basically essential oil that in the volatile, that in the room temperature, and it's odorous, volatile, hydrophobic, and highly concentrated compounds. And it could be, we can take the parts from flowers, buds, seed, leaf, twig, bark, wood, fruits, and root. So we have so many species in East Kalimantan forest, and also, of course, the part in its plants, it gives more varieties in the source of essential oil. So this is our point on the family of Lauraceae. So we collect many papers, more than 100 papers. We collect and we analyze with the application. We found that the Lauraceae plants or Lauraceae tree, there is so many research about that. So we found that there is a gap of research. Maybe there is no, there is some genus or some species that not included in this paper. Of course, we know that in our forest, there is a lot of genus from this family, but the research is still limited. So in Lauraceae family, in East Kalimantan and North Kalimantan, we found there is some of genus from Lauraceae family, such as Actinodapne, Alceodapne, Desmiedia, Cinnamomun, Cryptocarya, Dehasia, and Endiandra, Osidoroxylon, Lydsea, Neolydsea, Nota Pobe, and Pobe, and still unknown genus that found on that forest. From this genus, maybe the popular genus is the Cinnamomum, but the others maybe lesser known native plants from our forest. So we would like to from Lauraceae family, and we would like to explore the essential oil producing trees on Lauraceae family. So we are doing the bioprospecting. So bioprospecting is the biodiversity prospect. So we call bioprospecting. So the bioprospecting is the exploration of the biodiversity for the commercial valuable genetic and biochemical resources. But it should be remembered, once we already explored the potency or the biodiversity from the forest or from the area in our area, so we should manage the sustainable of those plants. So this is some step that we are doing by for the bioprospecting. So we need to explore what the potency of the plants from the tropical rainforest, and then we are doing the research, and then we promote the research result to make a product, and it should be make an income for the community or the people that have biodiversity on that area. So after we know this plant is useful or making some valuable things, so it should be make a conservation to make it sustain. So the bioprospecting area is has a range, not only the agrochemistry, new crop varieties, pharmaceutical, cosmetic, and drug developments. There are still any other area from bioprospecting activity. But in our research, we would like to make a chain to make the exploration of the plants to make a benefit for the community in the forest area. So this is our step for that. So we are doing collecting the collection of sample by go to some place that has plants that already grown there, and then cultivation, and then we have a preparation such as extraction, isolation, or identification, and then we make a characterization about the essential oil or the compound. Then we screen for the potential use, and then make a confirmation about the bioactivity. So the next step is the commercialization. We need to giving a touch for the product with the research result. So this is a product development, and then make a test and make a commercial for the product. So this is also our point, because we know that the chemical composition is correlated with the bioactivity. So we also check the factor that affecting the chemical composition on essential oil, because we collect the plants from the wild area, so we have to know what the composition on that sample. So some factor that affecting chemical composition on essential oil is the part of the plants, and then a form of part. This is a fresh part or dry part, and then the age of the plants. This is the mature, the old or the young plants, and then the different abiotic stress. Maybe the location also make a change of the chemical composition, genetic factor, extraction method, and what time we collect the sample for the next processing. So this is our research. So we collect the sample from many area, but in this presentation, I just want to share about the Lauraceae family, especially in Leedsea and Cinnamomum genus. We carry out the sample 3 by 3, and then in the representative site of the distribution area of the species, and then followed by identification to make sure that this plant is by taxonomy. So to make sure this is the plant with the true name or the species, and then followed by distillation, and then analysis the GCMS to characterize the chemical compound. So we use a simple method on this in this study, because we do hope that the people in the surrounding area of forest can make a application with easy application in the location. So the extraction is the water steam distillation. We already know that the advantages is we can use fresh or dry sample. Then this is appropriate to use in home industry, and then it's already easy to get the equipment. So the disadvantages about this method, this is only can distill with a low of boiling point. Then our bioassay that I present in this event, I use 2 bioactivity, antimicrobial activity with the agar diffusion method, with the control is chlorhexidine and chloramphenicol, and then anti-inflammation. So in this bioassay, we use egg albumin as protein denaturation with the heat. So the anti-inflammatory drugs such as sodium diclofenac has the ability to stabilize heat the treated bovine serum albumin by preventing it from denaturation. So we tested with the essential oil to stabilize the heat of the albumin to preventing the denaturation on this presentation. So I start with the Leedsea. So Leedsea has more than 400 species in Asia, Australasia, and America, while in East and North Kalimantan, Indonesia, Leedsea is represented by 38 species. Then this plant, in this genus, the species are being used for a long time as source of traditional medicine, especially in China. So most of species in genus Leedsea were called medang. So it's not easy to know what kind of Leedsea, because some people say that all species in Leedsea with the name of medang. So it needs information about the pattern of essential oil compound, because if we would like to distill the species, Leedsea species, maybe the chemical compound is different. So in this study, Leedsea elliptica and Leedsea angulata were studied for the variation in the volatile component, so we can analyze for the possibility of biological activity. So when we look for the research gap on the Litsea, so we found there is Indonesia with the highlight, the big area here, but there are some Litsea angulata, Litsea glutinosa, Litsea cubeba, but we know that we found that in the tropical rainforest in East Kalimantan, we can find more than 3 Litsea. So we would like to explore about the Litsea species. This is our finding about the Litsea species in East Kalimantan. It's more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but we only share in this paper 7 species, but for the further only 3 species we would like to share, because from this we can see here in the slide, we can see that the yield of the Litsea elliptica angulata and Litsea rubiginosa were higher than the others. So for the essay, the next essay, we should have the we need the more yield to make an essay. So this is a chemical composition. When we check the chemical compound in GCMS, so we can see here that for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 species of Litsea, it has a different group of compound. So from Litsea garciae, Litsea ferruginea, and Litsea rubiginosa, they are rich of the sesquiterpene. Then the Litsea angulata and Litsea elliptica are rich on monoterpene hydrocarbon. Then we are doing the clustering about the similarity of the chemical compound. We found that there is 3 clusters, that Litsea garciae and Litsea rubiginosae is on 1 cluster. Then the second cluster is Litsea elliptica, Litsea ferruginea, and Litsea angulata. But the more specific, Litsea elliptica, and Litsea ferruginea is in the one more closer relativity than Litsea angulata. Then we check for the bioactivity for the antimicrobial with the 1 fungi Candida albicans, and then 3 bacteria such as Staphylococcus aureus, Streptococcus mutans, and Streptococcus sobrinus. As we can see here, all of this essential oil has a potency as for the antimicrobial more than control the positive control we use. So this is the result for the Litsea rubiginosa, Litsea elliptica, and Litsea angulata. So we also measuring the influence of drying methods on this essential oil of Litsea elliptica, because we would like to know that the post-harvesting or the pre-treatment before the distillation make an influence for the chemical compound. In this, we can see here the drying time we correlated with not what is it? We can see the drying method, it's affected the yield. So in this case, Lichia elliptica in the 0 day, it means a fresh leaf that distill has a less content than the leaf that doing the drying activity have a drying treatment for 1 day and 2 days. And then we check the major compound. So we can see here that the chemical, the major compound is still the same, but the content in the first day is the highest than the others. So it's in the first, in the 0 days, the 7-octane to 1 is the highest. Then the highest one, then the 2-andecanon is lower than the 7-octane. And then the heptane to methyl is the lowest. But in this 1 day treatment drying, so the rank is from 7-octane, and then the heptane, then to andecanon. So for the information, this kind of compound has a activity that already published in some publication. So it would be nice information that we found in Lichia elliptica, and then the chemical compound already have activity on that other research, such as the heptanes used for additional fragrance, and then the 2-andecanon is a natural pheromone that also inhibit the lung tumorigenesis. And then the second one, we would like to know about the essential oil content of Lichia angulata by doing the same treatment. So we found that Lichia angulata has the major compound alpha-pelandrin, and this is the have a different phenomenon. So the drying method is affected of the yield. So the results show that the reduction of the oil content due to the drying treatment, and also the oil content of major compound is also affected by drying treatment. And then for the Lichia angulata itself, we would like to make how effective the collection time to get the major compound. So we make a simple distillation, and then we collect with the different time, and then we measure the chemical compound and also the activity. So in this slide, we can see that the comparison about the monoterpene and sesquiterpene and others is different, it's variety. For fraction 1 and then fraction 2 and fraction 2 with the collection time is 1 hour, and then the next to 1 hour, the 2 hours and 3 hours. So in this fraction, we can see here that in the alpha-pelandrin is has high content with a 47.97%, and then the fraction 2, the alpha-pelandrin is 16.18%. So it means that the collection time can affect the proportion of alpha-pelandrin. And then we check to the antimicrobial activity to the lactic acid bacteria. So we can see here the fraction 1, fraction 2, and fraction 3. We so that the fraction 1 with the rich of the alpha pelandrin has more activity to inhibit the lactic acid bacteria. So this is our finding. So the next one is the cinnamomum. Before I explain about the Lychea, so this is cinnamomum. We also this kind of plant is already popular in Indonesia, but the cinnamomum, the most popular cinnamomum is Cinnamomum burmani or kayu manis or Cinnamomum verum, and it's traditionally used as a medicinal plant to treat the flu, fever, and etc. And then maybe not in the lesser known species is Cinnamomum iners that also used as traditional medicine for headaches or others. Used by Chinese people with the stems or leaf and fruit for treat the dysentery, rheumatitis, and etc. And one other, I'm sorry, this I would like to show about the research on essential oil of cinnamomum. There is a lot of kind of paper talk about the essential oil in cinnamomum, but I would like to show you that one little circle is Cinnamomum champora. That this is not so much paper in here comparing to all of the mapping. So as we found that in East Kalimantan we got Cinnamomum champora. So we would like to share the information about Cinnamomum champora in East Kalimantan. So this kind of cinnamomum in East Kalimantan we found. So we already know the major compound, Cinnamomum burmani, is the major compound is eugenol, and Cinnamomum paternoxinol is safrole, and then Cinnamomum iners is cyclobutyl, and then in the Cinnamomum camper, we found some variety on the forest on one area. So they are having a major compound as such as a camphor 1 and 8 cineol and caryophyllene oxide. So even we know that the cinnamomum is a genus of evergreen aromatic trees, belong the family of Lauraceae. In this study, the Cinnamomum campora, we would like to know about the chemotypical and variation in the volatile compound and the bioactivity. So this is the information, but in other research, they said that camphor has a 6 different chemical variants, which camphor, linalool, 1, 8, cineol, nerolidol, safrole, and borneol. So we would like to share about the camphor in East Kalimantan. So this is research about the yield and color. We took 15 sample, 3 by 3, we collect the leaf and we distill. So from 15 collection, we have different yield and some different color found in the essential oil. This is the screening. And then we check for the anti-inflammation. So we can see here, we use standard is natrium diclonate or sodium diclofenac. We can see that all of them has activity for inhibiting the denaturation of protein. But some of them is less than the positive control, but almost all the sample have the ability to inhibit the protein. So this is the the analysis. So then we would like to know about the different composition in the essential oil. We also doing the separation by collection, time collection. So we have here 3 essential oil with different major compound. So the sample namely is CP5, CP7, CP9. So we know, we can see here in the table the yield from the fraction 1 is highest than the other fraction.
Professor, your time is 1 more minute.
Okay, so this is the activity for antimicrobial. We got the camphor, cineol, and caryophyllene oxide as the major compound. So the activity is also different. Then we got this also escape, and then we found the 3 that different yield of the camphor, and then we got the crystal for that from that. And then I would like to show you that this kind of the alpha pelandrin, it has a responsibility for the antimicrobial activity, and we can get from other plants. But this is the first time we can get the Lichia elliptica, the source of alpha pelandrin. Then this is a conclusion, maybe not conclusion, but this is just a review from this slide, because the plant and the because the plant collection and then different location and then extraction process and different time collection has a effect to the yield, the color, and the bioactivity. In Lichia elliptica, Lichia ungulata, and Cinnamomum camora were found in tropical rainforest in East Kalimantan and become a source for a new compound from in this area. So finally, last but not least, this is the essential oil that we produce in East Kalimantan that already make a serious product. So we collaborate with the farmers to make startup in essential oil and develop the micro, small, and medium enterprises, the tropical rainforest essential oil. And last, thank you very much for the attention. This is the team of ATRIO. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Professor Harlinda, for your excellent presentation. It is a very interesting topic. I think I want to ask 1 or 2 questions regarding the deforestation in Kalimantan. Will it affect the produce of essential oil from the species in the rainforest?
Yeah, thank you for the question. That's why we know that deforestation is increase. So we should make a strategy doing by bioprospecting, use the use for the natural product from the forest. But when we use the natural product, so we should manage the site. So we have to sustain the biodiversity, because it has a potential, it become make a benefit for the community. So they will care about the tree, they will care about the area, the site of the plant on that area. So I think it should be education to give the research to them, to make a prototype, to inform them that it be a benefit for the people on that area. So
Okay, next. Next question, may I? Yeah,
okay.
from Professor Mitsunaga Toru. He is interested in Litsea angulata because abundant of monoterpenes are including in the species. How does this essential oil smell and what are the ingredients?
Okay, so the smell of the limulata is like mango, so and resin. So most of the Litsea for the forester, we can know the tree for the Litsea or Medang species by knowing the bark with the smell of the mango, just like a mango smell and resin, like that.
Okay. What are the ingredients, Professor? What are the ingredients?
The ingredient is a lot of kind of ingredient in the Litsea angulata, but the major compound is the alpha-pelandrin.
Okay, one more question. This is the very last. Based on the presentation, this is from Dr. Khairan. Yes. The percentage yield of essential oil is still low. How about, do you have any effort to increase the percentage yield of essential oil?
Yeah, maybe in this step, we still thinking about the strategy, but we would like to make sure about the availability of the plant species first, because we would like to make a propagation or make a cultivation to make it there, not disappear. So that's our step, the first step. For the yield, maybe the next step, and we should make a collaboration for the others expert, I think.
Okay. Yeah, collaboration is very interesting in this area, especially in increasing the yield of essential oil. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Professor Harlinda, for your presentation once again, and then thank you for all presenters or professors in this session. I will hand back this session to MC. Please, MC.
Ms. Mutia, I would like to say thank you to the Mr. Mitsunaga, Toru Mitsunaga, and Dr. Khairan for the question.
Okay, yeah. Okay, Ms. Rehan, I will hand back the session to you.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, once again, thank you very much, Professor Miguel, Professor Harlinda, and Ms. Mutia for the insightful and fruitful keynote sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the opening ceremony and keynote session of the International Conference on Petroleum and Essential Oils Research Innovation, ICON February 2021. The next session for attendees is the parallel sessions, which will be divided into several Zoom rooms. So please refer to the rundown for the session's details. And we still have an invited speaker sessions and the announcement of best speaker tomorrow. So please join us again and see you tomorrow. I am the master of ceremony of today's event. Would like to say thank you and hope you have a pleasant time during the conference. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.